A close-up of teardrop and round Swarovski crystals hanging from a chandelier. Figure 10. A new product's success is dependent on the product development cycle and why consumers adopt new products. New product development involves a process of stages. Credit: Chandelier by Drew Kaufman/Flickr, CC by 20. Chapter outline: 10. 1 New products from a customer's perspective. 10. 2 stages of the new product development process. 10. 3. The use of metrics in evaluating new products. 10. 4 factors contributing to the success or failure of new products. 10. 5 stages in the consumer adoption process for new products. 10. 6 ethical considerations in new product development. Swarovski, a well-known company that specializes in crystal cutting, developed a campaign around diversity and acceptance a few years ago in an effort to reach worldwide customers. One such campaign that was launched during the holiday season in China focused on the Advent calendar, despite the fact that the observance of Advent is primarily a Western tradition. If you're not familiar with Advent calendars, they're a type of calendar that counts down the days from December 1 to December 25, Christmas Day. On each day in December, you open a pouch or flap on the calendar where a small candy or toy is included. Swarovski took the concept to a whole new level. The Swarovski Advent calendar retailed for $458 and contained 25 individual compartments with Swarovski crystals. You might be thinking that the price is a little high, but think again. The market supported the price, and the calendars sold out quickly. While the physical Advent calendars took off in the market, so did the digital version. With the digital calendar, users would play interactive games, earn game cards, and then swap the cards with other people. After they collected 7 unique cards, they could turn them in to Swarovski for a gift. Later in this chapter, we're going to explore some measurement metrics for determining the success of new product launches. But one immediate indicator that a product launch was successful is a quick sellout. For Swarovski, the fact that their Advent calendar sold out so quickly is a testament to the successful product launch. Learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you will be able to 1. Define a new product. 2. Explain newness from the perspective of the customer. 3. Explain the risks and rewards of developing new products. New product defined. You've probably watched at least one episode of the popular television show Shark Tank, where budding entrepreneurs pitch their business plans to a panel of investors in return for funding. To date, over 1,000 sales pitches have been made on the show, some forgettable, others memorable, and some pitches have resulted in wildly successful businesses. Some of Shark Tank's most successful products include the Squatty Potty, over $200 million in sales since appearing on Shark Tank, Bombas socks, over $225 million, and Scrub Daddy, over $330 million. 2. Link to learning. Shark Tank. You will learn a lot about new products and their development by watching Shark Tank. You can watch the episodes online here. Interested in learning which Shark Tank products have been most successful? Check out these stories: Shark Tank Tales, 12 most successful Shark Tank products, Good Housekeeping, Top 42 gifts that got their start on Shark Tank, Entrepreneur, Shark Tank, Vulture, Shark Tank contestant who pitched face masks in 2009 has no regrets, Looper, the most expensive deals on Shark Tank, Hustle Story, 21 most famous Shark Tank failures in 2022, Failery, Shark Tank, 7 products that failed and their 3 biggest mistakes, B-Plans, 5 lessons Shark Tank can teach you about pitching to angel investors. Perhaps you've got an idea for a new product that's going to take the world by storm. If so, this chapter will be especially relevant for you. We're going to explore everything about new products in this chapter. The stages of new product development, what facets of those new products contribute to their success or failure, how consumers adopt new products, and more. You would think that a new product would be an easy definition, but the term can mean different things. In fact, there are 5 different categories of new products. See Figure 10.2, each one unique. The different categories of new products are new-to-the-world products, new-to-the-firm products, additions to existing product lines, improvements and revisions to existing products, and repositioned products. Figure 10. 2 categories of new products, attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC by 40 license. Let's look at these new product categories in more detail. New-to-the-world products. New-to-the-world products essentially are new inventions that create new markets. Some examples from products recently introduced include biomagnetic ear stickers for weight loss, cat self-groomers, and portable blenders. 3. New-to-the-firm products. These are products that are new to a company but not to the world. It's likely that marketers have seen a gap in the market and their product line and attempted to fill that void by adding a Me Too type of product to their product line. For example, Nature Valley originally only made granola cereal, but later introduced granola bars that could be eaten on the go. 4. There's a perfect example of a company that saw a gap in the market and added a product that wasn't new to the world, but it certainly was new to Nature Valley. Additions to existing product lines. Recall that a product line is a group of related products marketed under a single brand. Additions to existing product lines are simple product line extensions designed to flesh out the product line. During its 130-plus years in business, Coca-Cola has launched a number of product line extensions. The next time you're in a supermarket, look on the shelves in the soft drink aisle. You'll likely see a number of different flavors and styles of Coca-Cola varieties, such as Coca-Cola Cherry Vanilla, Coca-Cola Vanilla, Coca-Cola Zero, and more. 5. Improvements and revisions to existing products. This is when existing products are improved. Think about how many times you've seen new and improved on the packaging of a product that you've been using for a while, like laundry detergent. As a concrete example, Meta, formerly Facebook, released its Oculus Quest 2 VR virtual reality headset and controllers late in 2021, which was simply an updated version of its original Oculus Quest. 6. Link to learning. Oculus Quest 2. Are you new to VR and would like to see what you can do with the Oculus Quest 2 device? Check out this short video where Meta Quest uses YouTube to market the features and benefits of using the Oculus 2. Meta Quest also provides tons of videos about how you can use the Oculus 2 in fitness, gaming, social experiences, and space exploration. Check out those Meta Quest videos here. Reposition products, another reminder. Product positioning is the process that defines how your product is different from others on the market. 7. Repositioned products are those that are retargeted for a new use or application. For example, Bayer repositioned its aspirin from treating headaches, fever, and inflammation to also safeguarding against heart attacks. 8. Customer perceptions of newness. Just as there are different ways to categorize new products, there are different customer perceptions of newness. The difference in these perceptions is the result of how much change they cause in a consumer's existing habits. Newness can be categorized 3 ways. Discontinuous innovation, sometimes referred to as radical or disruptive innovations. Discontinuous innovations consist of new-to-the-world products that are so different from products currently existing in the market that they require a significant change in consumer behavior when adopted. For example, think about how cell phones have changed the way we communicate today. Older cell phones did one thing: make and receive phone calls. With a smartphone, you can still make phone calls, but you can also listen to music, send and receive emails, surf the internet, conduct online banking, and get driving directions, to name just a few. Consider how learning to operate all the features on your smartphone required you to change your behavior. 9. Continuous innovation. This is the other end of the spectrum from discontinuous innovation. With continuous innovation, the existing product undergoes marginal changes and doesn't alter customer habits. For example, when Sony introduced new TVs that promised sharper, brighter TV pictures, the picture quality was better, but as a consumer, it didn't require you to change your TV viewing habits. 10. Dynamically continuous innovation. With dynamically continuous innovation, some changes in consumer habits are necessary, but the changes aren't as large or small as you see with the 2 other types of innovation. For example, manual and even electric typewriters have gone the way of the dinosaur since the advent of PCs, but the keyboard layout remained the same, so little change was required with consumer habits. Risks and rewards of developing new products. We started this chapter with a discussion of Shark Tank and some of the products that have been successful in the market as a result of the television show. However, not all products are successful, and there are both risks and rewards when developing new products. Rewards of developing new products. You have probably heard the saying, no risk, no reward, and nothing could be truer in terms of new product development. However, a company's ability to maintain its competitive edge in the market requires a delicate balance between the necessity and the challenges of new product development. We've already looked at Swarovski's successful product launch of its Advent calendar, but let's consider a few other examples to show you just how rewarding a well-executed product launch can be. Instagram, the social networking platform that allows users to share photos and videos, was first released in October 2010, and it quickly racked up 25,000 users in one day. The company now boasts that it has more than 1 billion, that's with a B, monthly active users. Instagram succeeded by introducing bold features in its platform, from video editing features to interactive features like face filters and polling. 11. And of course, we can't talk about successful product launches without mentioning Apple, whose original iPhone was one of the most successful product launches in history, racking up 1 million units sold within just 74 days of its launch. 12. Keeping the success of these products in mind, let's look at the reasons why products succeed. Targeting new markets. New product development gives businesses the opportunity to expand into new markets, providing an opportunity to connect with different target markets. This creates the added benefit of growing their customer base. For example, research from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, indicated that Americans were reporting symptoms of anxiety and depression since COVID-19 came about, so PepsiCo launched 2 new drinks that claim to support relaxation, Driftwell and Soul Boost. 13. Increasing market share. Think about market share as a pizza, and every company that participates in the market has a slice. Obviously, some slices are bigger than others. As the market grows, a company needs to expand with it in order to keep its share of that pizza. But it can also increase its market share and take another slice or 2 of pizza through new product development. Increasing revenue stream. Revenue streams are all the ways a company can generate cash from the sale of its products or services. New products and/or services will create additional revenue streams that will generate extra income for the business, perhaps spurring even more new product development. For example, Apple generates revenue streams by developing new hardware products, such as the Apple Watch and AirPods wireless headphones, and the company enjoys recurring revenues from services such as iCloud, Apple Music, and Apple TV+. Risks of developing new products. Developing new products has many unforeseen issues and surprises, so it should come as no surprise to you that there are some significant risks associated with these efforts. Lack of differentiation. There can be many problems with the design of a product, including insufficient differentiation from competitors' products. Perhaps the product or service did not solve enough problems or did not solve them sufficiently, or the product incompletely addresses the needs of the target market. For example, in 2021, Apple discontinued its HomePod smart speaker, which was not perceived as being sufficiently different from Amazon's Echo despite offering high-quality music playback. Financial feasibility. New product development is expensive and can be financially risky for companies. It's important that a financial feasibility study is conducted in the earliest stages of new product development to determine whether it's worth launching the product or service in the context of sales and revenues. Financial feasibility is the primary reason why pharmaceutical companies typically don't invest large amounts of money in developing a new drug if the market for the drug is small. Novartis was the exception to this rule. The company developed a drug that treats children under the age of 2 suffering from spinal muscular atrophy, SMA. According to the Cleveland Clinic, only 1 in 10,000 children suffer from this rare genetic mutation, but Novartis went ahead and developed the drug anyway. 14. With a price tag of $2,125,000 for a 1-dose treatment, it's the most expensive drug the world has ever seen. 15. You may be asking yourself, is it worth it? Just ask the parents of a child suffering from SMA. Technical feasibility. Technical feasibility studies are equally important as a financial feasibility study. Does the organization have the technical resources to meet capacity? Can the technical team convert the idea into a working product or service? For example, while Taco Bell's Doritos Loco Taco was in development, the team wasn't sure it was technically possible to coat a taco shell with the iconic Doritos flavoring. Its research and development (R&D) department spent approximately 2 years developing over 40 prototype taco shells before it found the right combination of crunch, seasoning, and flavor. 16. Poor timing. Author Joshua Harris once wrote, "The right thing at the wrong time is the wrong thing." This couldn't be truer when it comes to new product development. You may have developed the best product or service, but if it's introduced to the market at the wrong time, it's likely to fail. The product development process can take a year or longer, and imagine the market changes that can take place during that time. A new competitor may enter the market before you do. Consumer preferences and needs can change, legislative or environmental regulations can change, or the economy can go south before you're ready to launch. The situation with in-home COVID-19 testing kits is a perfect example of poor timing. By the time the U.S. government made these kits widely available to the public, the need for these tests had greatly diminished because the majority of the population had already been vaccinated. Knowledge check. It's time to check your knowledge on the concepts presented in this section. Refer to the answer key at the end of the book for feedback. 1. Many years ago, liquid soap was introduced in place of traditional bar soaps. This innovation changed an intrinsic feature of the product, but it's used for the same purpose. This is an example of discontinuous innovation, continuous innovation, dynamically continuous innovation, non-continuous innovation. 2. Coca-Cola, a behemoth in the soft drink market, decides that it is going to develop and market Coca-Cola popsicles. What type of new product would this constitute? New to the world, new to the firm, improvements and revision to existing products, repositioned product. 3. Sandra went to the grocery store and purchased the same laundry detergent she's been buying for years, but she noticed that the packaging had been changed and the label indicated that the laundry detergent was new and improved. What category of new products would the laundry detergent likely fall under? New to the world products, new to the firm products, repositioned products, improvements and revisions to existing products. 4. Hoffman Enterprises has introduced a new product to the market that has undergone only marginal changes and doesn't alter consumer use habits. What type of product has Hoffman Enterprises introduced? Discontinuous innovation, continuous innovation, intermittent innovation, dynamically continuous innovation. 5. Sources through which a business earns income from the sales of goods or services are known as capital gains, incremental income, profits, revenue streams, learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you will be able to 1. Identify the stages of the new product development process. 2. Define and describe the important factors of each stage of development. The new product development process. The new product development process involves activities where a company thinks of a new product concept and introduces a new product offering. New product development usually follows a process divided into stages. See Figure 10.3. The stages of the new product development process are Stage 1 idea generation, Stage 2 idea screening and evaluation, Stage 3 concept development and testing, Stage 4 market strategy development, Stage 5 business analysis, Stage 6 product development or prototyping, Stage 7 test marketing, Stage 8 commercialization, and Stage 9 evaluation of results. Figure 10. 3 stages in the new product development process. Attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC BY 40 license. Stage 1. Idea generation. With idea generation, you are working to create as many ideas as you can. The purpose of this stage is to focus on the products that are more likely to turn a profit, so you can reduce the product development expense later in the process and develop profitable products. 17. Instead of looking at the new product development process in abstract terms, let's discuss a potential product idea and follow it through all the steps of the process. Imagine that you're a marketer for a food processing company, and you believe there is a gap in the market for a high-protein freeze-dried yogurt powder that can be added to juice to make a nutritious, low-fat, fruit-flavored smoothie. This is what's known as a product idea, a new product that a company could potentially offer to the market. This idea may have been generated by internal sources such as research and development, R&D, market research, or employees who are not part of R&D. On the other hand, the idea may have come from external sources such as customers, suppliers, distributors, or even competitors. Stage 2. Idea screening and evaluation. This is the process of filtering through the ideas brought to the table by your team, picking the ones that are most likely to turn a profit, and dropping the less favorable ones. For example, with our high-protein freeze-dried yogurt powder, the team would create numerous product concepts that they then sift through to reach the best idea. Stage 3. Concept development and testing. In this stage, a product idea can be turned into several product concepts, the perception of a new idea or innovation. The product team will consider who will use the product, e.g., children, athletes, or adults, what benefits the product will provide, e.g., meal replacement, a snack, nutrition, or energy, and when consumers would typically consume the product, e.g., for breakfast, as a mid-morning or afternoon snack, or after a workout or exercise. For example, your product team may come up with the following product concepts for our yogurt powder. The yogurt powder would be marketed as an instant, on-the-go breakfast drink. The yogurt powder would be marketed as a high-protein snack that is more nutritious than plain juice or milk. The yogurt powder would be marketed to adults or athletes who work out and want to replenish the body's loss of protein during exercise. It's important to develop these product concepts because each concept defines the product's competition. For example, Concept 1 would compete against other breakfast foods such as cereal, breakfast bars, toast, and bacon and eggs. Concept 2 would compete against juice, soft drinks, and plain milk. Concept 3 would compete against protein shakes. Once you've developed your product concept, it's time to test that concept with consumers in what you believe to be your target market. This is what's known as concept testing. Concept testing is a market research method in which customers are presented with a description of a product or service. Let's assume that the product concept we've chosen is the instant, on-the-go breakfast drink. Customers in the target market would be presented with a description of the product that may read something like, "Our product is a high-protein powdered yogurt mixture that is added to juice to make an instant breakfast smoothie that provides nutrition, good taste, and convenience. The product will be offered in individual packages, 6 to a box, priced at $349 per box." Potential customers will then be asked a series of screening or qualifying questions, such as, to what extent do you like or dislike this product? How appealing are the attributes of the product? How likely would you be to purchase this product? Quite often, these and other questions are scored using a 5-point Likert scale. For example, the last question might be scored on the basis of these 5 options. Definitely would purchase, likely would purchase, may or may not purchase, unlikely to purchase, and definitely would not purchase. The answers to these questions suggest if the product will likely be successful in the market or not. If the answers are generally positive, the product concept will move to the next stage. If the answers are less than positive, the product concept will likely be rejected. Stage 4. Market strategy development. Once concept testing has been completed and the decision has been made to proceed further, it's time for the product team to develop a preliminary marketing strategy plan. This plan will address the target market for the product. It will outline product positioning, pricing, distribution, promotion, budget, and both short and long-term goals for sales, market share, and profit. Stage 5. Business analysis. Armed with the preliminary marketing strategy plan, the company now needs to assess the new product's business appeal. For example, the company will want to know if sales will be sufficient for the company to make the desired profit. The company will need to understand the costs involved in the new product development in terms of research and development, manufacturing, and marketing. There are a couple of different analyses that can be done. Payback. This simply refers to the time frame within which the company can expect to recover the investment it made in the product development process. Break-even analysis. This analysis determines how many units must be sold before the company recoups its costs and starts making a profit. These analyses are performed so that management can now determine if anticipated profits from the sale of the breakfast drink mix will satisfy company objectives. If the answer is yes, the product concept moves on to the next stage, product development. If the answer is no, the product concept is shelved. Stage 6, product development. Remember that, until now, our product concept has existed only as words or perhaps a drawing. If our breakfast drink mix has passed the business analysis test, it will now move into the product development stage, and engineering will develop a physical version of the product, called a prototype. 18. It's important to note that sometimes the company realizes in this stage that the product concept simply can't be translated into a commercially feasible product. For example, through market research, Maxwell House determined that consumers wanted a coffee that was bold, vigorous, and deep-tasting. However, after working with coffee blends for 4 months, the company determined that it was too expensive to commercially produce the formula, so Maxwell House changed the blend to meet its targeted manufacturing cost. Unfortunately, the taste of the new blend didn't meet consumers' expectations, and the new product flopped. 19. The prototype is then put through functional and customer tests to see how well it performs. For example, at carpet manufacturer Shaw Industries, temporary employees are paid to walk on carpet samples for 8 hours a day to see how the carpet holds up. 20. At Gillette, volunteers come to work unshaven so they can use certain razors, shaving cream, or aftershave and complete questionnaires. The motto of this group is, "We bleed so you'll get a good shave at home." 21. Stage 7, test marketing. If the product team is satisfied with how the prototype performs functionally, the product concept is then test marketed to determine its viability before it's launched on a large scale. Typically, the product is introduced in a limited number of stores or in a few geographic regions in order to gauge customer acceptance. There are several methods of consumer goods marketing testing, but we'll just cover a few here. Sales wave research. This is the least costly method of test marketing. With this method, consumers are initially allowed to try the product at no cost. They are then reoffered the product or a competitor's product at a reduced price a number of times. Sales waves. The point of this research is to see how many consumers select the new product and record their reported levels of satisfaction with the product. 22. Controlled test marketing. In this type of test marketing, the company arranges for a certain number of stores to carry the new product. The new product is delivered to the store, and marketers manage shelf position in the store, pricing, point-of-purchase displays, and more. The company then measures sales results through the scanners at checkout. Test marketing. Of course, the best, but also the most expensive, way to test a product concept is with a full-blown market test. The company will select a few representative cities, markets that closely resemble the target customers, and introduce the product with a full advertising and promotional campaign. In essence, the company is measuring the success of the new product on a smaller scale before launching it on a national or even global scale. Curious to know the top cities to test market a national product? They are Nashville, Tennessee; Cincinnati, Ohio; Indianapolis, Indiana; Charleston, South Carolina; and Jacksonville, Florida. 23. Simulated test markets. With this method, consumers are exposed to simulated market situations in order to gauge their reactions. Marketers interview consumers in 2 stages, concept stage and after use. The concept stage interviews provide the marketer with information about the product's appeal and trial rate, whereas the post-usage interviews determine consumers' likelihood of purchasing the product again. Crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is the practice of using the input of a large group of people. This form of market testing would be particularly useful if your product includes mobile apps, web apps, or websites. The product team would choose a crowdsourced testing platform, test the product, analyze the results, and tweak the product accordingly. 24. Stage 8, commercialization. In this stage, the company launches the product, complete with full-scale production, distribution, advertising, and sales promotion. The cost of launching a new product varies depending on the product itself, the industry, and the competition. Stage 9, evaluation of results. As we've pointed out with the marketing metrics features in this textbook, you can't fix what you don't measure. So it's important after commercialization for the company to review the marketing performance of the new product. Is the new product accepted by consumers? Is there sufficiently high demand, sales, and profits? Are there competitors who are introducing a similar new product in the market? Depending on the answers to these questions, savvy marketers will closely monitor the performance of the new product and make changes as needed in both the marketing plan and the marketing mix strategy. 25. Careers in marketing. Product development as a career. Most companies have product manager, PM, as a job role. In this job, you manage the product creation or further development. Check out this summary of what a product developer position entails, including average salaries. This article from Stanford Online outlines what you need to know to have a career in product management. ZipRecruiter also outlines skills and training needed for this job role. Many companies post job descriptions to help you prepare. Here are a few for the product manager job role. Google PM, Facebook Meta PM, Twitter PM, Amazon PM. If you're interested in learning more about the product manager job role and career, read here about the typical path you can expect. Knowledge check. It's time to check your knowledge on the concepts presented in this section. Refer to the answer key at the end of the book for feedback. 1. A physical version of the product concept that is developed during the new product development process is called a mock-up, model, prototype, precedent. 2. You've gathered customers in the target market and presented them with a description of the product concept you have selected. This process is known as prototyping, concept testing, test marketing, crowdsourcing. 3. At what stage in the new product development process would you launch the product, complete with full-scale production, distribution, advertising, and sales promotion? Test marketing, product development, business analysis, commercialization. 4. The least costly method of test marketing is known as controlled test marketing, sales wave research, simulated test marketing, crowdsourcing. 5. What is the first stage in the new product development process? Idea screening and evaluation, market strategy development, commercialization, idea generation, learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you will be able to 1. Explain the importance of establishing new product metrics. 2. Describe metrics used to evaluate the success or failure of new products. The importance of establishing new product metrics. There are few marketing activities that are as difficult to manage as new product development. Not only does a company have to juggle multiple tasks like new features and innovative technologies against factors like cost, risk, and time to market, but it has to ensure that it's making the most efficient use of its limited resources on new products that will meet both its short-term and long-term strategic goals. In this section, we're going to review product development metrics that can measure the success or failure of your new product launch. Product metrics are quantifiable data that a business tracks and analyzes to determine how successful its new products are. One way that companies accomplish this is by using key performance indicators, KPIs. KPIs are target metrics set by a company as a way to measure if the product is delivering on expectations. An example of a KPI could be targeted new customers per month or revenue growth. Link to learning. KPIs. If you haven't already heard the term KPI and you plan on working at a business, it will become a part of your language. No matter what job role you hold in a company, KPIs are important to understand. Learn more about KPIs from their resources. KPI.org. What is a key performance indicator? KPI. HubSpot. How to choose the right KPIs for your business. Toucan Toko. The most important KPIs to track for improved marketing efficiency. The Marketing Journal. 5 marketing KPIs you cannot measure but should care about. Virtual Strategist Video. How to develop key performance indicators. Specific metrics used to evaluate new products. There are any number of metrics you can use to measure the success of a new product. For our purposes, we're going to focus on just a few of the more common KPIs. See Figure 10.4. Metrics that can be used to evaluate new products are R&D spending as a percentage of sales, current year percentage of sales, time to value or TTV, product adoption rate, and return on investment or ROI. Figure 10. 4 metrics to evaluate new products. Attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC by 40 license. Research and development, spending as a percentage of sales. This metric is used to compare the effectiveness of R&D expenditures between companies in the same industry. It's important to use companies within the same industry because R&D numbers vary widely based upon the industry. For example, pharmaceutical and software companies tend to spend considerable dollars on R&D, whereas consumer product companies generally spend less. The percentage is calculated as R&D dollars spent divided by total sales. Current year percentage of sales. This method calculates cost of goods sold, inventory, cash, and other financial line items as a percentage of sales, and then applies that percentage to future sales estimates. It's a quick and dirty way to estimate the product's future value. 26. Time to value, TTV. Time to value refers to how long it takes new users to recognize your product's value, sometimes referred to as the aha moment in marketing. Obviously, the sooner this occurs, the better, although time to value varies widely depending upon the product itself. 27, for example, if you purchase a new book for your Kindle, it's a matter of seconds before the book is available to you. On the other hand, if you subscribe to a magazine, it may be days or weeks before you see your first issue. Product adoption rate. When launching a new product, this metric is almost always at or near the top of the product team's list of KPIs to track. Product adoption, or user adoption, is the process by which people learn about a product and start using its features to meet their needs. 28. The formula for calculating the adoption rate. Divide the number of new users by the total number of users. Return on investment, ROI. This is a metric formula used to evaluate the profitability or overall value of an investment. In marketing, you can use ROI to measure the profitability of a new product launch. To calculate the marketing ROI, you would take the sales from that product, subtract the marketing costs, divide by the marketing costs, and multiply by 100. 29. For example, if sales grew by $100,000 as a result of the new product launch, but the cost of the marketing campaign was $20,000, the ROI would be return on investment, ROI equals sales minus costs. Costs times 100. Return on investment, ROI equals 100, 000 minus 20, 000, 20, 000, times 100 equals 400%. Knowledge check. It's time to check your knowledge on the concepts presented in this section. Refer to the answer key at the end of the book for feedback. 1. Data measurements that businesses use to evaluate the success of new products are called ROI. Product adoption rates, R&D. Product metrics. 2. Which method calculates cost of goods sold, inventory, cash, and other financial line items as a percentage of sales, and then applies that percentage to future sales estimates. Product adoption rate, current year percentage of sales. Time to value, TTV. Revenue growth rate. 3. To calculate this metric, the return of the investment is divided by its cost. Time to value, TTV. R&D spending as a percentage of sales. ROI. Revenue growth rate. 4. This metric measures how long it takes new users to recognize the value of a new product. Product adoption rate. ROI. Time to value, TTV. Revenue growth rate. 5. Which of the following metrics would likely not be used to evaluate the effectiveness of new products? R&D spending as a percentage of sales. Time to value, TTV. Return on investment, ROI. Annual recurring revenue, ARR. Learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you will be able to 1. Identify and discuss factors that contribute to the success of a new product. 2. Identify and discuss factors that contribute to the failure of a new product. What factors contribute to the success of new products? The story about how the Dollar Shave Club was started is more than just urban legend. Founders Mark Levin and Michael Dubin met at a party and commiserated about how expensive razor blades were. After that party, using their own money and investments from startup incubator Science Inc., they launched their website that sold razor blades much more cheaply starting in April 2011. These founders seized an opportunity based on several insights. That prices for blades charged by market leader Gillette were perceived as too high, that most men do not want to shop in stores for shaving supplies. And lastly, that the move to online subscription boxes was gaining traction. 5 years later, the company was bought by Unilever for an astounding $1 billion. 30 link to learning direct-to-customer sales. Watch this viral video of the founders speaking about the virtues of direct-to-customer sales. It's funny and informative. Check it out. Instant, phenomenal, new product success is what every marketer wants to achieve when launching a new product. But the reality is quite different. When you look objectively at new product introduction success or failure, significant differences emerge between successful and unsuccessful product launches. There's a similar pattern or a recipe for success. Figure 10. 5 outlines the key factors that strongly influence new product success. The factors that contribute to the success of a new product launch are delivery of unique benefits to users, planning before development, technological synergy and quality, marketing synergy and quality, and market attractiveness. Figure 10. 5 factors contributing to the success of a new product launch. Attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC by 40 license. Let's explore each of these factors. Delivering unique benefits to users. The product itself, in terms of its design, features, and benefits to customers, is often the bellwether of new product success. Are you introducing a Me Too product vis-a-vis the competition, or does the new product deliver unique benefits to the consumer? It probably comes as no surprise that innovative products typically fare better than those that have few elements of differentiation. As a matter of fact, research has shown that innovative products that offer unique benefits versus the competition have 5 times the success rate of products with fewer elements of differentiation. 31. Planning before development. This would seem almost intuitive, but unfortunately, many companies fail to plan properly before developing a new product. Remember the old phrase, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The rule of thumb in successful new product development is to thoroughly define the product before development gets underway. This means defining the target market, the product concept, customer needs and wants, and product requirements. Numbers don't lie. Research has demonstrated that new products in which pre-development activities were well-defined and executed had a success rate of 75% versus just over 31% for products in which those pre-development activities were lacking. 32. Technological synergy and quality. Technological synergy is when a new product is built on the firm's existing technological resources. The bottom line is that new products that have a strong fit between the project needs and the company's existing technological and production resources are typically much more successful in the marketplace. The further away the product strays from the company's current technology, the less likely it is that the product will be successful. 33. Marketing synergy and quality. Like technological synergy, marketing synergy is also an important factor in new product success. Marketing synergy examines the fit between the needs of the new product development project and the company's sales, advertising resources, customer service capabilities, distribution, and marketing research. The closer the fit, the more successful the product will likely be in the marketplace. As a matter of fact, according to research, new products in which marketing synergy existed were 2-3 times more likely to be successful than products where marketing synergy was lacking. 34. Market attractiveness. Market attractiveness is a measure of potential value and considers factors like short and long-term profit, market growth rate, how much competition currently exists in the market, the cost of entry into the market, and how much the product satisfies the needs of customers in the target market. 35. Marketing in practice. Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. A plate of fried chicken wings sits on a bed of lettuce with a few cucumber slices on the edge of the plate. A small ramekin containing ketchup and chili sauce is next to the plate. Both the plate and the ramekin are on a wooden table. Figure 10. 6. To address falling sales in the latter part of the year, KFC developed a new product that appeals to customers during the holiday season. Credit, food photo of fried chicken wings with cucumber slices and lettuce on a wooden table with tomato ketchup and chili sauce. By Marco Verch/Flickr, CC by 2. 0. If you were to ask people what they eat during the holiday season, you'd probably get answers like turkey or ham. It's not likely that many of them will say fried chicken, see Figure 10. 6. That's less than ideal for Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, because despite the fact that consumer spending typically spikes during the last 6 weeks of the year, KFC's sales typically falter. Fortunately, savvy marketers at KFC came up with a new product designed to remind consumers of KFC during the holiday season. The KFC 11 Herbs and Spices Fire Log that, when ignited, makes your house smell like fried chicken. 36. The idea behind this new product was twofold. First, a home's fireplace usually plays an important role in the holiday season. Second, and perhaps more importantly for KFC, hopefully the smell of fried chicken makes people want to eat fried chicken. Some of KFC's promotional efforts involved discussions on TV talk shows and magazines. From these initiatives came 5,000 user-generated social posts and the logs being sold out in 3 hours. 37. How's that for a successful product launch? What causes new products to fail? We've just examined the factors that are favorable to the success of a new product, but what about the reverse? Those failure rates we mentioned in the previous section aren't to be taken lightly. Statistics on new product failure. So, you've made it through all the stages of new product development, and you think your troubles are over. Think again. Just because something is new, improved, or changed doesn't guarantee that consumers will accept it or even hear about it. Every person reacts differently in how they hear about innovation, how they understand it, and whether they accept it. Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen has been quoted as suggesting that approximately 30,000 new products are launched each year, and 95% of them fail. A study by the Product Development and Management Association found that new product failure rates varied among industries, ranging from 35% for healthcare products to 49% for consumer goods. Although those numbers are significantly lower than that proposed by Professor Christensen, the message remains the same. Successful product launches shouldn't be taken for granted. 38. What causes new products to fail? The reasons are likely different from one product to the next, but certain key factors appear to contribute heavily to the failure, see Figure 10.7. The factors that contribute to the failure of a new product are failure to understand consumer wants and needs, targeting the wrong market, lack of product point of difference, prolonged development or a delay in entering the market, and poor pricing or cost structure. Figure 10. 7. Contributing factors to the failure of a new product attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC by 40 license. Let's review each of these factors more closely. Failure to understand consumer needs and wants. Let's illustrate this with a real-life scenario that some of you may recall. Google Glass smart glasses, which were like eyeglasses with smartphone capabilities, i.e., wearable technology. When Google announced the product in 2013, it issued a statement of principle reading: "We think technology should work for you, to be there when you need it and get out of your way when you don't." However, sales were disappointing despite the company's usual market hype, and it quickly became clear that consumers didn't want or need the product. There were other devices with longer battery life, faster processors, and better cameras, and most had lower prices. Google discontinued the product's development in 2015. 39. Targeting the wrong market. It doesn't matter how incredible your technology is or how phenomenal you think your product is. If you can't reach the right people in the right market at the right time to buy your product, it's likely going to fail. Even Microsoft fell prey to this mistake. The company decided to challenge the Apple iPod and launched Zune in 2006. The product failed, and Microsoft later admitted that it was just chasing Apple, and its product gave consumers little incentive to switch from the iPod to Zune. 40. Lack of product point of difference. This could also be referred to as a lack of product uniqueness. If a new product doesn't satisfy a unique need of consumers, it's unlikely to dislodge existing brands that are available. The bottom line is that, to succeed in the market, a product has to either satisfy a new function or satisfy an existing function in new ways. For example, Google launched Google+, its own social media site, in 2011 to compete with Facebook. However, Google+ was unable to distinguish itself from Facebook, and the site never garnered the market share Google anticipated. The company shut down personal accounts in 2019. 41. Prolonged development delayed market entry. You've probably heard the idiom that time is money. And this is especially true in new product development. If a company takes too long to launch a product, it often spells doom for the product launch. By the time the product hits the market, the economy may have taken a downturn, consumer needs may have changed, or new competitors may have entered the market. That's what happened to Amazon when it introduced its Fire phone after 4 years of development. CEO Jeff Bezos had said at the time, "Our job is to build the greatest device we know how to build, and then customers will choose. The other job we have is to be patient." 42, apparently, that patience didn't pay off, because by the time the phone was introduced to the market in 2014, Apple and Android already had several generations of smartphones on the market. Amazon ceased production of the Fire phone just a year later and discontinued sales soon thereafter. Sometimes, timing is everything. Poor pricing or cost structure. Unfortunately, many new products suffer from a poor pricing or cost structure. Perhaps the company designed the product with a number of innovative features to try to bring something new and different to the market. But the inclusion of all those features made the product more costly to produce. You may be keeping your fingers crossed that the market will be willing to pay more for that new and improved product. But the reality is that this may not be the case. Knowledge check. It's time to check your knowledge on the concepts presented in this section. Refer to the answer key at the end of the book for feedback. 1. The degree to which a new product is built on the firm's existing technological resources is known as market attractiveness, marketing synergy, technological synergy, cost-benefit analysis. 2. A study by the Product Development and Management Association found that new product failure rates varied among industries, ranging from 35% for to 49% for healthcare products, consumer goods, pharmaceuticals, consumer goods, technology products, healthcare products. 3. Graham, a marketer for ABC Corporation, was concerned about the new product launch because R&D was months behind in development and the economy appeared to be heading toward a recession. Which factor contributing to the failure of new products is Graham's concern? Lack of product differentiation, prolonged development, delayed market entry, targeting the wrong market, failure to understand customer needs, wants. 4. Your company has added so many features to the new product you're launching that the price point when it hits the market is going to be significantly higher than originally anticipated. Which factor contributing to the failure of new products is at play here? Lack of product differentiation, prolonged development, delayed market entry, targeting the wrong market, poor pricing, or cost structure. 5. The Fur Zapper, which removes pet hair from laundry in the washing machine, was introduced on Shark Tank and became an immediate hit. It garnered over 5,000 five-star reviews on Amazon because customers were amazed at how much pet hair it trapped in the washer. Which factor contributing to the success of new products is likely at play here? Delivering unique benefits to users, technology synergy, planning before development, market attractiveness. Learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you will be able to 1. Describe the stages in the adoption process for new products. 2. Identify and define new product adopter categories. Stages in the adoption process. Consumers go through 5 stages in the process of adopting a new product. See Figure 10. 8. The stages in the consumer adoption process are product awareness, product interest, product evaluation, product trial, and product adoption. Figure 10. 8 stages in the consumer adoption process. Attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC by 40 license. Let's look at each of these stages in the consumer adoption process, often referred to as the hierarchy of effects model, in some detail. Stage 1. Product awareness. The first stage in the consumer adoption process is simply creating awareness that the product is available, so the company develops a successful marketing strategy to make customers cognizant of the new product. This strategy might include creating a strong presence for the product in social media, for example. The goal here is to reach as many customers as possible at a relatively low cost. Let's assume for a minute that you're watching a football game on Saturday afternoon and you see a television commercial for a mouthwash that whitens your teeth while you rinse. You're now aware of the product, thanks to that commercial. Stage 2. Product interest. In this stage, consumers are aware of the product, and it has piqued their interest. The company should guide consumers by providing easily accessible information on the product, such as a website, blog posts, tutorials, or instructional videos. Let's go back to our mouthwash example. You're intrigued with the concept that a mouthwash can whiten your teeth, so you call your brother who's a dentist to ask if he's familiar with the product and what he has to say about it. That's product interest. Stage 3. Product evaluation. Before they buy it, consumers will typically examine, compare, and evaluate the product. They haven't purchased it yet, and they often look to social media channels, such as online reviews and recommendations, to see how other consumers feel about the product or service. Think about it. How many times have you viewed customer reviews on Amazon prior to purchasing a product? In our example of the mouthwash, you might do an internet search to read reviews of the product before you actually purchase it. That's product evaluation. Stage 4. Product trial. This is the stage in the consumer adoption process where the consumer actually tries the product out. It might be a free sample in a retail store or a 100% money-back guarantee trial purchase of an online product. This is also the stage in which marketers are hoping that the product will deliver on consumer expectations. Stage 5. Product adoption. When consumers enter this phase, they're ready to buy, whether it's online or in a retail store. As a marketer, hopefully you've made the acquisition and payment process as seamless as possible so that your customers can easily obtain your product. It should be noted that there are 5 characteristics of innovation, and each affects the rate of adoption differently. This is also known as the process of diffusion of innovation, the process through which new products are adopted or not by customers. Let's take a look. Relative advantage. How much is the new product better than what it replaces? This is, of course, based entirely on a consumer's perception. But as a general rule, the easier it is to recognize the advantages of using the product, the more quickly it will be adopted. Compatibility. This is the level at which the innovation fits into a specific society due to economic, lifestyle, and cultural reasons. For example, PCs were very compatible with middle-class lifestyles, so the product was quickly adopted. On the other hand, the diffusion of birth control in parts of the world is not compatible with social mores due to religious beliefs and cultural values. Complexity. How difficult is the new product for the adopter to understand and use? If the difficulty level is too high, it is less likely that adoption diffusion will take place. Think about your own experiences. Have you ever returned a product because it was too complicated to use? Divisibility. Divisibility is the ability to give the product a test run before putting down your hard-earned cash. For example, in no small part due to the COVID-19 pandemic, some online car sellers like Carvana and Shift, as well as some car dealerships, have adopted touchless test drives. The car is brought to the shopper's home, it's wiped down with disinfectant, and the consumer takes the car for a test drive alone while the delivery person waits. 43. Communicability. You may know your product is great, but you need to be able to effectively communicate to your audience. Communicability is the ability to effectively communicate the benefits and results of using the product, and when those benefits and results are both observable and describable to others. Let's imagine for a moment that you've purchased an expensive Peloton bike to get in shape after the new year. Would you continue to use it if you didn't see the desired results? Perhaps even more importantly in terms of communicability, would you be willing to share your results with others if those results weren't favorable? It was first thought that diffusion was a one-step process, from mass media, i.e., advertising, to the individual. Marketers now recognize that it is a two-step process, and the second step is personal influence. That is, communication between individuals in which individuals can affect the purchasing decision of others because of their authority, knowledge, or position. For example, Kylie Jenner is a powerful social media influencer with over 250 million followers on Instagram. 44 new product adopter categories. Consumers adopt new products at their own speed. Some want to have the latest and the greatest as soon as it is available. If you doubt that, just look at the lines around any Apple store on the day of a new product release. Others tend to wait a while before buying. Scholar and professor of sociology at The Ohio State University, Everett Rogers is credited with introducing the diffusion of innovation theory in 1962, in which he explained how a product or idea gains momentum and spreads through a population or society. In his theory, he identified 5 adopter categories, see Figure 10. 9. 45. The representation of categories of adopters of new products forms a bell curve. The curve represents the average time for adopters. Starting on the left of the curve are the innovators, who make up 5% of adopters. Next are the early adopters, representing 5% of adopters. Next are the early majority, representing 34% of adopters. Next are the late majority, representing 34% of adopters. Finally, there are the laggards, representing 16% of adopters. Figure 10. 9 categories of adopters of new products. Attribution. Copyright Rice University, OpenStax, under CC by 40 license. Let's look at each of these categories in a little more depth. Innovators. Innovators are the risk-takers in the market. As a general rule, they have higher than average income and are typically well-educated. They enjoy the rush of taking risk, but are also willing to accept the consequences of failure. It's the innovators who buy new products as soon as they hit the market. Early adopters. Early adopters are actually the best target market for new innovations. These people tend to be well-educated, opinion leaders with neighbors and friends, and their product advice is generally accepted more readily than product advice provided by innovators. Early majority. The early majority typically look to the innovators and early adopters to determine if the new product meets expectations, because they don't want to take the risk of being the first to adopt the new product. But they do accept innovation before the average person. This group of consumers is typically above average in terms of education and income, but also tend to be followers in their social group. Late majority. Consumers in the late majority category are typically slow to catch on to the popularity of new services, products, ideas, or solutions. About 34% of the population will buy a new product only after about half of the population does. They're not interested in the bells and whistles, i.e., functionality and benefits, of the latest model, and want simple, cost-effective products that focus on specific uses. As a general rule, their income and education are limited, and they're typically unwilling to take a chance with a new product unless the majority of consumers has already adopted the innovation. 46 laggards. Laggards are more in tune with the past than the future, and they're leery of new ideas. By the time they adopt a product, there's probably already a new version or innovation taking its place. Knowledge check. It's time to check your knowledge on the concepts presented in this section. Refer to the answer key at the end of the book for feedback. 1. Garrett is the type of consumer who has to have the absolute, latest and greatest technology products on the market. He is often the very first of his group of friends to acquire the newest smartphone or other gadget. Garrett would be considered an early adopter, laggard, late majority innovator. 2. What is the first stage in the consumer adoption process? Product awareness, product evaluation, product trial, product interest. 3. The extent to which the beneficial results of using a new product are observable or describable to others is referred to as divisibility, product awareness, marketing, synergy, communicability. 4. Bob refuses to get on board with smartphones. He insists on having a landline in his apartment. In terms of the new product adopter categories, Bob would be considered an early adopter, innovator, laggard, late adopter. 5. Which group of consumers tends to be unwilling to take a chance on a new product or innovation until the majority of consumers has already adopted the product? Innovators, early majority, laggards, late majority. Learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you will be able to 1. Discuss violations of patents, trademarks, and/or copyrights. 2. Describe ways to exercise due care in product development. Violations of patents, trademarks, and/or copyrights. Before we proceed with a discussion of the areas of concern with respect to patents, trademarks, and copyrights in new product development, it would probably be helpful to have some definitions. Patents secure the right to exclude others from making, using, or offering for sale the invention you've developed. As a general rule, U.S. patents last 20 years from when the application is filed with the U.S. Patent Office. Copyrights are original works of authorship that include software, songs, television shows, and motion pictures. Trademarks are words or symbols legally registered or established by use as representing a company or product. Collectively, these terms are referred to as intellectual property, IP. You may think that intellectual property infringements are uncommon, or, at least, limited to new product development by smaller companies, but nothing could be further from the truth. Patent lawsuits and ever-increasing scrutiny for anti-competitive behavior have cost big tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Google hundreds of millions of dollars. For example, in March 2021, a jury ruled against Apple for patent infringement and ordered it to pay over $300 million to Personalized Media Communications, LLC. That same year, a judge ruled that Google had infringed on 5 patents owned by Sonos, and if the ruling is upheld, it may result in the ban of imports of products like Google Home and Pixel smartphones. 47 intellectual property infringement can have serious consequences in terms of both monetary fines and, of course, the reputation of the company. Penalties can include civil damages, lost profits, injunctions, payment of the other damaged party's attorney's fees, and even felony charges with prison time. 48 methods of exercising due care during product development, intellectual property rights, add immense value to a company's assets. Imagine having a product team invest time, energy, and money developing, and then launching a new product only to discover that the company's intellectual property rights aren't protected or, worse yet, that the product team has infringed on another company's intellectual property rights. That's why it's important in the product development stage to do 3 things. Conduct a trademark search. It's critical to know whether anyone else is already using the mark before time and resources are invested into developing a name and market recognition. For example, Take-Two Pharmaceuticals was required to change the name of its antidepressant drug, Brintellix, to Trintellix, because of consumer confusion between Brintellix and an anti-blood clotting drug named Brilinta. 49. File a trademark application. Filing a trademark application provides the company with a bona fide statement of intention to use the mark within 6 months of the application. Conduct a patent search. If the product relates to a technological or scientific invention, the company should also conduct a patent search. As noted above, the patent excludes others from making, using, or selling a claimed invention for 20 years. 50. Another issue that you may hear a lot about is the control or lack of control users have over their personal data. Companies that collect personal data have to carefully and ethically consider what information is embedded in systems design, how much data is really needed from users, where that data will be stored, and when and how it will be disposed of after use. 51. Companies with a conscience meta rectangular pieces of chalk of different lengths are lined up in a row in rainbow order. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The Facebook logo is on the indigo piece of chalk. Chalk dust of each color is in front of each piece of chalk. Figure 10. 10 Meta is taking steps to better address ethical issues regarding users' personal data. Credit: The Art of Facebook by MKH Marketing. WordPress. com/about/Flickr, CC by 2, Meta, formerly Facebook, has come under fire for several reasons recently, including a scandal that involved a whistleblower, see Figure 10. 10. This person revealed that the tech giant chooses profits over safety when they released internal research and documents and testified before the United States Senate. 52. However, the company took steps to ensure ethics in its new product development by hiring Zvika Krieger to its Responsible Innovation Team, RIT. Although the team had been in existence for some time, it's growing in size with the emergence of new ethical issues. Krieger's role focused on ethical issues in both the engineering and the design processes. For example, the RIT was involved in the decision to disallow filtering dating app results by race. The RIT focused on the design and development stage of product development with the specific role of identifying ethical issues. Krieger departed Meta, and the RIT was dissolved in 2022. Most members moved into other areas of the company, where they may be able to influence decisions more directly.